4A showdown. The Antlers speared the Unicorns. Highlights of that and more coming up. We are into week 8 of the high school football season. The district races now down to the wire. Many teams were knocked out of the playoffs already this week. Well, we have a lot of highlights for you. 2 games on Thursday night. Thursday night at South Sand Stadium, the Jefferson Mustangs took the bite out of the Burbank Bulldogs. We pick up the action early in the first quarter. Mustang quarterback Johnny Gomez tosses back to Pablo Ruiz at midfield. He gets some good blocking, slips past a few Bulldogs, and carries the ball nearly 30 yards to the Burbank 20. 3rd and goal now. Gomez fakes the handoff and takes it 5 yards himself for the Mustangs touchdown. The extra point good, 7-0 Jefferson. The Bulldogs just couldn't seem to get the ball moving. Quarterback Albert Macias is tripped up by the Mustangs' John Robinson, and they recover on the Bulldog 12. Jefferson takes advantage of the turnover with a yard to go. Larry Peche hands off to Eddie Weddington, and he's in for the Mustangs touchdown. And with a 2-point conversion, it's 15-0 Jefferson. But the Bulldogs were not ready to give up without a fight. The Mustangs are all over quarterback Albert Macias. He refuses to go down on his own 45. He looks downfield, gets the pass off to Ray Dominguez at the Mustang 25-yard line. He's able to move the ball down to the 13 before he's brought down. But the Bulldogs end the half by throwing an interception into the end zone, 15-0 Jefferson before the break. In the second half, the Mustangs took charge again. Gomez handing off to Eddie Weddington at the 32. He busts through the Bulldogs defense and makes his own opening, taking it in for the Mustangs touchdown. The extra point good, and it's 22-0 Jefferson. The Gomez-Weddington combination pays off again here. Weddington breezing past the Bulldogs. He kicks it into high gear and carries the ball 85 yards, taking it in for another Mustangs touchdown. Weddington ended up with 227 yards on 17 carries, 29-0 Jefferson. They go on to win it 36-0. In a District 27 5A shootout on Friday night, Lee ran over East Central 35-14. Tailback Chris Salinas rushed for 103 yards and scored 3 touchdowns to pace the Volunteers. Meanwhile, the Battle of the Rams was taking place at Northside Stadium, and the Rams from Del Rio prevailed over the Rams from Marshall 17-13. It was Del Rio's first victory over Marshall since 1979. Now let's take a look at this week's Ken's Express News football poll. The Holmes Huskies don't want to give up first place. Coming into this week, Holmes is still undefeated and received all the first place votes. Clark is still second. Judson remains at number 3. Sam Houston won't go anywhere after pounding Brackenridge this week. Churchill 5th, Roosevelt number 6, Madison 7th, Jefferson, Seguin, and South Sand round out the top 10. In the sub-5A poll, it's New Braunfels top-ranked. The Unicorns and the Tybee Antlers tangled this week. We'll have highlights of that game. Devine is 2nd, Pleasanton 3rd, Canyon is 4th, Medina Valley 5th, Lavernia, Cole, Somerset, Clemens, and Central Catholic round out the sub-5A top 10. At Judson Stadium Friday night, the Roosevelt Rough Riders were trying to stay in contention for a District 27 5A playoff berth. But the Judson Rockets had something to say about that. The Rockets will set up their first score. Kyle Arnell takes the handoff and rambles 7 yards to the Roosevelt 5-yard line. 2 plays later, Vincent Kyle will scoot in from 2 yards out to give the Rockets a 7-0 first quarter lead. Judson's Kevin Harrison will now show us his magician's act. He will act like he doesn't have the ball. Then, presto, he's running loose downfield for a 22-yard gain to the Rough Rider 25. Kyle Arnell will take the pitch at the 16, then cut to the inside, then leg it on in for the Rockets score and a 14-0 cushion in the second quarter. Judson will set the stage for its next score. Quarterback Mike Jinks will roll out to his right. He finds Jeff Stanzione open near the sidelines. An illegal procedure penalty will set the Rockets back 5 yards, but that's no problem as Kyle Arnell will blaze past every defender in sight and go 52 yards to give Judson a 21-0 advantage at the half. And that surely makes the Judson Pep squad delighted. Judson is knocking at the door again in the third quarter. Quarterback Tommy Ramey will hook up with Kevin Harrison. Harrison, with a valiant effort, gets to the Rough Riders 5. 2 plays later, Chris Milligan will punch it in from a yard out to pad the Rockets' lead to 27. Judson will set up its final score of the evening. Kyle Arnell takes the pitch at the 41, then finds his way down to the Roosevelt 21. Kevin Harrison then plunges in from a yard out as Judson virtually eliminates Roosevelt from the playoffs with a 34-0 win. The biggest upset of the week took place at Harlandale Memorial Stadium Friday night as McCollum edged 10th-ranked South San 16-14. Greg Cortez's 28-yard field goal with 2 minutes left in the game gave the Cowboys their first win of the season. In another District 29 5A contest, the Southwest Dragons held off the Laredo-Nixon Mustangs 26-20. The Dragons stopped the Mustangs on 4th and goal at the 1 as time ran out. Coming up, our Player of the Week and a great game between Edison and Lanier.
Ken's High School Football Highlights is sponsored.
Kicking game will have been an important factor. The young man who punts, kicks off, and boots the conversions is also important to the running game. Gary DeLon tells about our Ken's TV Player of the Week.
Go right, 87 drops.
He wears number 9, and he has shared running duties this year with quarterback Mike South, fullback John Aaron, and wingback Steve Anders. But it seems Jimbo Parks gets stronger each week. The 5'10", 190-pound halfback was a ball carrier at middle school at Eisenhower, but last season he did nothing but kick for the Chargers. Now, as a senior, Parks has carried 88 times for 538 yards and 4 touchdowns. With his 18 conversions and 3 field goals, that gives him 51 points, 10th in the city. Teammate South is 8th. Last week in the victory over East Central, Parks gained 144 yards, punted, kicked off, and scored. He hasn't been called on to pass yet, but undoubtedly he would do it well. He's recipient of our Award Mart trophy as Player of the Week. Football is very prevalent in your mind, but also you have some other goals in mind, too. Academically, what are they?
Well, I'm hoping to get as high as I can in my class and do well on the SAT and try to get into Texas if I can.
You want to go as a kicker?
I wouldn't mind.
What kind of potential do you think he has to be a kicker in college?
Well, he has lots of potential as a kicker, but I wouldn't sign him off as possibly being a running back.
Green left, C-Jet, 86, R Flair. Ready?
Churchill has scored 174 points. With Parks 51, he has produced almost 30% of the Charger points. He averaged almost 9 yards a carry, kicked off, kicked 4 PATs, scored a touchdown, and was a catalyst in the Churchill offense. You might say in 1988 as well as last week, Jimbo has been a jumbo for Churchill. I'm Gary DeLon for Ken's High School Highlights.
The Lanier Vokes were trying to continue their winning ways on Thursday night, but the Edison Bears were just a little too much to handle. The Vokes did give them a run for it, though. Early second quarter, Edison takes a 2-0 lead on a safety. The snap goes sailing over Mark Rodriguez's head. He can't escape the pack of Bears, and Edison leads 2-0. But the Vokes get a big break late second quarter when Steve Soto picks off Gilbert Garcia and returns the interception to the Edison 5 to set up a Lanier touchdown. On 4th and goal, Mike Gonzalez powers his way into the end zone long enough for the TD, 6-2. Quarterback Danny Martinez then calls his own number for the 2-point conversion, 8-2. But Lanier may have rested too much on the ensuing kickoff. Carlos Bernal takes it off the hop, gets some nice blocks there, cuts against the grain, and races down the sidelines for the Edison touchdown. 9-8 Bears with a point after. That is the halftime score. Third quarter, the Bears add to their lead. Gilbert Garcia rolls out. He connects with Carlos Bernal, who takes it the rest of the way for the touchdown, 16-8. Lanier fans not too happy at this point, but the Vokes close the gap in the fourth quarter. Danny Martinez on the option has a beautiful 28-yard run to the Lanier 20-yard line. That sets up a TD. Mike Gonzalez on the pitch takes it in from 15 yards away, 16-14. Lanier now only trailing by dose. Fourth quarter, the Vokes get some bad news when their quarterback Martinez is injured on this play. He had to leave the game, but was able to walk off the field under his own power. His backup, Walter Lopez, does an admirable job steering a Lanier touchdown drive as the Vokes march 45 yards for the score. This is it, a 1-yard Gonzalez dive, and Lanier leads Edison with less than 2 minutes left in the game. But the Bears are determined to shoot down the Vokes. Garcia gets Edison into Lanier territory on this 38-yard pass to Danny Medina. And this is the game winner. Garcia decides to hold on to it. He is in for the touchdown. The final, 23-20, Edison sneaks past Lanier. The Seguin Matadors took a giant step towards capturing a District 29 5A title by thrashing Laredo Martin 49-19 on Friday evening. Trevor Broadnax scored 3 touchdowns and rushed for 113 yards to lead the Matador charge. The West Campus Cougars fell to the Edgewood Red Raiders Friday night. West Campus scored 15 points in the 4th quarter in an attempted comeback, but fell short, 27-25. The Churchill Chargers may have locked up second place in District 27 5A Friday night by defeating Madison 28-13. The Chargers' first possession, quarterback Mike South pitches to John Aaron, carries 38 yards to set up the Chargers' first touchdown. It's Aaron again, up the gut, and Churchill has a 7-0 lead. Madison threatens all night. Late first quarter, the Chargers forced a punt. Derek Hayes there for the return. He runs down the sidelines, 37 yards to the 30-yard line. But Churchill ends up taking over on downs. And on the second play of the Chargers' drive, Mike South breaks loose again, this time a 58-yard run to set up a Chargers touchdown. South finally brought down by Shannon Wicker at the Madison 12. On 2nd and 5 from the 7, the Churchill line creates a huge hole for Aaron as he scores, and it's 14-0 with the point after. Madison has a nifty play to set the stage for its second quarter touchdown. On the reverse, John Duggar sails one to Adam Burton at the 4-yard line. On 3rd and goal from the 3, Derek Hayes pitches to Rick James, who just gets over the goal line long enough to count, 14-7. The Mavericks get a huge break before the half ends when the Chargers have a bad snap on this punt, and Madison recovers at the Churchill 12-yard line. But the Chargers' stingy defense holds Madison inside the Churchill 5. 4th quarter, Churchill leads 21-7 when Joe McClellan picks off Rick James here. James returns the interception to the Madison 11. 3 plays later, quarterback South calls his own number as he plowed through for the touchdown. 28-7 Churchill with less than 7 minutes to play. Madison does not give up, though, as Marcus Moss is determined to get into that end zone. He finally does it late 4th quarter, breaking a couple of tackles there. A 35-yard touchdown run, but the final reads Churchill 28, Madison 13. Don't go away. We're going on the road to a town that is simply divine, and the Sam Houston Cherokees are unstoppable. Highlights from their game with Brackenridge.
Look out! Tiny! Here we go! 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 Go! Unicorns! Beat!
Mediocre 5-5 record, but the team was young and inexperienced. As Michael Laird tells us in this week's road trip segment, the Warhorses matured and have become a force to be reckoned with in District 29 3A.
4 frog, 64 frog.
First sound, ready?
Leadership grows with experience. Good leadership can lead to a bright future. At Devine High School, the future is now. The Warhorses own an unblemished 7-0 record.
Well, we have a lot of returning players, and we feel like that everybody's really filling the roles real well.
Coming into this year, what was one thing that you expected from this team?
Well, we knew we had to have a lot of leadership, and we've had that, and we've had excellent play by both sides of the ball, and that really has been the key to our success.
A stellar offensive line has enabled the Warhorses to average nearly 35 points a game.
Oh, the offense has been rolling. Our offensive line's come a long way, and they've been doing a great job. And they've just been controlling the line of scrimmage. We control the line of scrimmage. We'll win the game.
Opposing offenses have only been able to score a total of 47 points against a veteran defense.
We have a lot of seniors this year that have really worked together, and just the main thing is teamwork, and everybody's on the tackle.
Well, we all play as a team, and we've been coached real well, but we're intense. We go out to play hard against everyone else. We commit ourselves to shut everyone down when we play them.
Experience, leadership, and teamwork. 3 ingredients that may lead the Warhorses down the warpath of prosperity. In Devine, I'm Michael Laird for KENS High School Highlights.
Pleasanton handed Memorial High School a 35-0 loss on Friday night, but you have to give the Minutemen who played in that game credit. Most of them sophomores with very little game experience. After House Bill 72 wiped out most of the Memorial football team last week, the school lost 15 of its 22 starters to grades. We asked Edgewood Independent School District Athletic Director Domingo Rangel Jr. what the school will do to prevent something like this from happening again.
From now on, I'm going to make sure that the coaches check their kids that they are going to tutoring. So some of them, the coaches will sit in their office and say, everybody go to tutoring at 3:30, and some of them don't show. So it's going to have to be more policing of the kids to make sure that they show up into their tutoring classes.
And after Friday's loss to Pleasanton, Memorial has now dropped 48 straight games. That's the nation's longest losing streak. The New Braunfels Canyon Cougars handed the Clemens Buffaloes their 4th loss of the year. Canyon's Steven Summers scored 2 touchdowns in the second half, and Michael McBride added a 40-yard TD run late 4th quarter. Smithson Valley won for the first time this year at Bernie's expense. They beat the Greyhounds 21-9. Smithson Valley is now 1-7, 1-3 in district. The Brackenridge Eagles suffered a very bitter homecoming loss on Friday night. They were shot down by Sam Houston 61-0. Friday night was kids' night at Alamo Stadium. The youngsters invited in free to watch Sam Houston and Brackenridge. What they saw was the world of offense, Cherokee style. Sam Houston set the tone of this game on his first play from scrimmage. Ronji Hill up the middle, then breaks to the left and goes 44 yards down the sidelines. He was finally run out at the Brackenridge 12. 3 plays later, quarterback Brian Williams calls his own number for 5 yards. Houston leads this one 6-0. It was just the beginning of a long night for Brackenridge. A 4th and 16 play, Brian Williams to Tim Berry at the 2, and he backs in for the score. Here's something you don't see too often, a 2-point conversion play from the 17. A clipping penalty was the cause, but Ronji Hill fights his way in, and he scores. It was 14-0, a super run by Ronji Hill for a pair of points. There was very little the Eagles could do to stop Sam Houston. Here's Brian Williams throwing over the middle, and right on stride is Dominic Cameron, a 42-yard touchdown, and all this is still in the first quarter. Brackenridge had opportunities, but close plays were always snuffed out by the Cherokees. Kelvin Peltier intercepted this pass at the 1-yard line. Then he goes 99 yards for a touchdown. It was not the kind of night Brackenridge was hoping for with homecoming and all. The final, Sam Houston 61, Brackenridge nothing, 7 wins in a row for the Cherokees. In Class 3A action, the Hondo Owls fell to Llano 18-13. We regret to say that quarterback David Gonzalez was seriously injured in that game. He was transported to Methodist Hospital here in San Antonio early Saturday morning and is in intensive care. Gonzalez suffered a head injury. We wish him well. Randolph roared past Southside 28-6 Friday night. The Rohawks' John Roan tallied up 211 yards on 30 carries. Roan also had 2 touchdowns. Friday night at New Braunfels Unicorn Stadium, the Kerrville-Tivy Antlers locked horns with the New Braunfels Unicorns in Class 4A action. The Antlers strike early from the Unicorns 47. David Zirkle hands off to Dave Drapella. He finds a huge opening in the Unicorns defense and carries the ball to the 26-yard line. Now with 2nd and goal, Zirkle squeezes his way in from the 2-yard line, and it's a touchdown for Tivy. The extra point good, 7-0 Kerrville-Tivy. Just before the first quarter ends, New Braunfels would put some points on the board with his field goal by Jesse Diaz from 35 yards away. 7-3, Kerrville still in the lead. Second quarter action now with the ball on the 45. Zirkle handing off to Matt McGuff. He hurdles over some Antlers and picks up the first down before he's brought down at the 35. They get the ball down to the 4. Zirkle handing off to McGuff again. He powers his way in. 14-3 Tivy with the extra point. The Antlers come back strong again in the second half. Here, David Zirkle fires one to Eric Harris. He's hit hard, but he hangs on at the 4. Now from the 1, Zirkle muscles his way in for the Antler touchdown, 21-3. But the Unicorns do not give up. Jimmy Simmons, just recovering from a knee injury, rolls outside. He fires to the end zone and connects with Patrick Lee for the Unicorns touchdown off the deflection. New Braunfels tries for the 2-point conversion. Simmons to Jeff Bryan, and it's successful. They narrow the gap to 10 points, but Kerrville-Tivy goes on to win it 21-11.
Just like we knew, old Unicorns play us tough over here, but I think it's 2 fine football teams, and I look for the Unicorns to come back and be between them and Canyon, it looks like, for 2nd place.
21-11 here with just a couple seconds left. You guys were still pretty aggressive with that.
Well, I thought both teams pretty aggressive. They kind of stopped us down there. We fumbled the ball a couple of times, but we played hard, and our defense played hard, and theirs did too. It's a good football game, two undefeated teams.
The Floresville Tigers slipped past the Cole Cougars on Friday. The Tigers' only touchdown was a 1-yard run by Asa Fuller. The final, Floresville 7, Cole Cougars 3. In Class 2A, the Lavernia Bears were shocked by the Shiner Comanches Friday night. Lavernia number 6 in our Express News poll. The loss ended a 19-game district winning streak, including one tie dating back to 1985. Shiner is undefeated in District 28 2A. Now it's your chance to be the ref. Here's Bob Watson.
Hi.
For Saturday night's highlights and scores. Gary?
In Cougar country at Northside Stadium, 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. Desmond Dents, the double D, dances and darts, bounces off a player, and goes in for the score. With a 2-point conversion, it's 8-0, 19 seconds left in the first quarter. Again, number 25 will be clear in the end zone. Scott Sigmund finds him. Touchdown. And the Cougars go on to win 25-0. First series of the night for the Huskies at the 29-yard line. Pettis hands off to Nathan Bennett, number 20, the fastest Husky into the secondary. His 4.6 40 speed, 50 down to the 40, the 30. They'll never catch him. He leads the dog pack, and the Holmes Huskies blow out the Mustangs at Northside Stadium.